Hello, Internet. Welcome back to another episode of Chai and Chill. Joining us today is author and a small business owner, Rathnakumar Raghunath. Hi, Ratna. Welcome to Chai and Chill.
Hey Anisha, thank you so much for having me.
So, I came across your page, which is called Something Different Store. And I'm so sorry, I forgot the pronunciation of the book again.
Smorgasbord of musings.
Okay, I'll say that again. Congratulations on your small business and for getting published, which was Smorgasbord of Musings. I'm so sorry I butchered this pronunciation, but I'm not
No,
doing
I'm
anything.
sorry.
And the short story that you wrote recently, Catch Me Cause I'm Falling.
Thank you so much, Anisha.
And yeah, before we dive into it and start talking about all the different things and basically chai and chill, here is this
Hmm.
app that joins me. I got this last year as a part of Secret Santa.
That's cool. This I just got because, why not?
Calcutta didn't get its Starbucks till it was 2017, I believe. So how I met Ratna was because it's thanks to our friend Sarika when he started posting about his book, and it was an introduction to the Bookstagram world, which I have been a part of for the longest time. So and then we did a deep dive into your IG, and we realized that you were a store and used to used to sell unique handmade gifts. So question is, how did all of this begin?
So, so how this started? Okay, so I've always been somebody who makes a lot of these thingamajigs and whatchamacallits and all that from childhood. So it just so happened that one day my friend whom I've known from kindergarten, Jai Franklin, told me, you make stuff like this and give your friends, like, for free. Why don't you just start something like, we'll have pocket money or something. I was like, yeah, okay, maybe. But then when I started doing things, I was like, okay, I don't want to do something that's already out there because, there's a lot of terracotta jewelry. That's just like, online people started selling those things. So then we were like, what can we do that's slightly different? Which is precisely why he came up with something different, because we tried to find something that didn't really exist here. Fuse beads, so which kind of, like 8-bit art, like video games. So basically, nostalgia is usually big, right? Especially with kids who are born the, 90s or like late 80s. So we were like, let's just try to cash in on that. So that's how it basically started. So we were like, let's do a Mario or something that people have a connection with back in the day, like video games and stuff like that. So that's how we started doing things, and yeah, so that's how it all started, and then we started building up. Like some people wanted jewelry, they were like, "Why don't you make earrings for me, Ratna?" And I'm like, "Ah, okay, let's try something." So it just built like that because it was initially obviously friends, right? Friends were my first customers, and then it kind of branched.
That's, that's amazing. But now we see a lot of, well, your creative things, the book especially. So when the
Right.
pandemic hit, did you just decide to, publish all of your poems at the same time, or were you just working towards this as a secret project all along, and the timing just wasn't working out?
Hmm. No, I wish it were a secret project. Seriously, that would be like, I mean, it'd be a bigger payout. But so I went through something not very great back in 2017.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, I am someone who doesn't really talk about his like problems to people. Always have people come to me and then I would give them advice. I'd give them, yeah. So I'd give them advice about love and they'll be like, "Are you even in a relationship?" And I'm like, hmm. But anyway, so I'm one of those people. So I would just not really talk about it. So I didn't know how to channelize it. So sometimes I'd sing, which
Mhm.
is great because and you're still borrowing somebody's personality, right? When you're singing a song, you're kind of putting yourself in those lyrics, something that matches your current situation you sing, but it's still borrowed. It's not your own, right? So I thought maybe I should write. I never journaled. I was never that kid. So I thought, okay, let me just write something. So I started writing, and which is precisely why, if you notice, the language is very simple. Like I keep telling this to Sarika, I keep saying a monkey could have written smorgasbord
That's not true.
because no, it kind of is, man. Like I'm not kidding you, Anisha. The language
Okay.
is like super like childlike. Okay,
It's not
it's not loud. You
childlike.
see,
As someone who has read your book, and I was also someone who decided when she was 6 that she is going to become a writer, I can tell you the most difficult things I have written were in simple language. Any idiot can look up thesaurus and write really hard things. No offense to people who do that, but you can. I have struggled the most when I was writing for children. So
Wow. That's okay. That kind of gives me a lot of validation. Thank you, because you are someone who's written so many books.
yeah, I did.
Your book is yet to arrive, by the way. So I've ordered it. I don't know when it's going to show up.
It will.
I'm waiting to read the Backyard Tales. That's the one, right? Yeah, that's the one I'm going to start with. But so, yeah. So like I said, so because I was not feeling great about something, so I started writing. And that kind of became a habit. Like I would just write whenever I was upset. And then around 30 or 40 or 50 poems kind of got, like, the book started getting filled with that. And then I was like, I put one poem on the internet and I got several messages saying this is exactly how I feel. This is what I felt, you know? So I was like, and then why don't you write more is what I got. So I was like, maybe I will. So then I started compiling them, and I realized that it was a bunch of sad crap. Like it was really sad. Everything was no. Listen, I'm not trying to like self-deprecate or whatever. Okay, but it was all really sad. Okay, Aniesha, it'd be like, God, like what's wrong with this person? Who hurt him as a child? You know. So then I was like, maybe I should do other things as well, not just always write sad stuff. Maybe think of other things. Then I started channeling into other, emotions, and I tried to put myself in the shoes of other people, and then voila, a book kind of happened.
To your point, there was this one poem. The reason why I got your book personally is because I saw Sarika's IGTV and she read out this one poem, and I was going through a lot of really bad things. Whenever relationships don't go my way or they end, I always keep thinking that I wasted so much time. I wasted so much time. It's not a very nice, healthy thing to think. But you had this one poem that she also read out, which sorry, I don't remember the title of that poem, but it basically said that it is always worth it.
Right.
And I think I messaged you right after I heard that poem.
Yes, that was the first mistake of me. I thought it was extremely sweet. Look at where we are now. So I'm really grateful that you sent me that message, because that's something I felt always when, I wrote it because I thought that it was, because that's again like, advice. Then I thought maybe I shouldn't really write preachy poems, but that's something I felt like I needed to say, because that was also me telling to myself.
Unfortunately, it is something that I have seen recur in a lot of other relationships as well. When people have been with each other for 3 years, 4 years, at least mine were like a few months. But after that, it has always been, oh my God, I wasted so much time. And
right.
Being told that it's okay, it's always worth it. It just makes you feel happy that it's like, okay, now we move on.
Right. Thank you so much, Aniesha. That's so sweet. Thanks.
So you did tell me about the writing process. What happened next? What happened when you figured that, okay, now I need to publish it, now I have to distribute it, I need to market it?
Yeah. So that was the kind of difficult part. So I decided, so I didn't know it. So on Kindle, right? Kindle Direct Publishing, it said start your paperback now.
Oh no.
So I was like, oh, okay, I can just do the paperback here. Like I can publish myself, right? So I started doing that. And I finished the whole process, and it says it's available in the US, UK, Japan, but not in India. And I was like, what? Yeah, so it said for India, you kindly contact some other publisher in India, is what it said, the blurb there. I was like, whoa, that's like. So then I started looking at a bunch of people. Notion Press was like the most popular, right? Self-publishing platform. So I did go check there. So there was paid packages, and the free ones didn't look all that nice. I felt the book looked, oh God, this is the controversial part that you need to cut. I mean, it's okay. Let us say. I just didn't think it was on par, like, with their
With
other
your
books,
vision.
probably the ones that are paid for.
No,
Right.
that's fair. Whatever
Yeah.
your
Okay.
vision is, we always envision how our books would look like, right? What you have in mind, especially for poetry books. I know a friend of mine who recently got her book published through Notion Press, and then I had to sit with her and explain to her how the whole formatting works and how to put it in paper. So just, I wish I had known you
Right.
back
And
then. I would have told you how to do it.
yes, it would have definitely helped. So because I did this with for the Kindle version, I mean, or the American paperback, I the it set the bleed for me, the border, all of it. Like,
Yeah.
right side had this border that left. So that was easy for me. And then I learned how to, add headers, footers, like every little thing I kind of had to Google and then go do it. So I did the whole layout as well. So I was like, listen, I've done pretty much all of it, all the work really. They just need to like probably publish it. So then I reached out to a couple of people, and one of them immediately replied saying, "Listen, you're a first-time author. We will not be able to give you an advance. It's not going to be like that, but it'll be considered self-publishing. But then you don't have to pay anything.
Oh,
You
that's
can, you will, yeah." So they said you can go ahead and we like your content, so we want to publish because we want a poetry book in our catalog. So I was like, that was like a win-win for me. I was like, yeah. So that's how that happened.
But I think the hardest part as authors you would be, this is marketing and ensuring that the book reaches everyone that you need.
Right, right. This is where I have to thank people. Honestly, it's this whole word of mouth thing that really worked. And what I did was I saw Sarika on one of my friends, Aditi's. She works with me at Amazon. So Aditi's page, she keeps sharing her stuff, and I like she said, I was a fan. I thought Sarika was amazing. Like, I mean, she has such a calming, soothing voice. People say she sounds like Deepika Padukone. I don't think that. I think she sounds. Oh God, this is controversial as well. I find I like Sarika's voice better because it's not shrill. Anyway, God, you need. I don't know. I'm gonna get in trouble. But
No,
anyway,
no, I'm pretty sure Deepika Padukone is not looking at my YouTube to see what people are saying.
right,
Unless
okay,
and until somebody takes this particular clip and sends it to her.
yeah.
And
Oh God, imagine cyberbullying, whatnot. Okay, anyway, so so I thought Sarika was great. I wanted to reach out to her, and I didn't want to be like, listen, can you like review my book? No, nothing like that. Just like, listen, this is something that I'm doing. If you want to, maybe you feel like talking about it, you talk about it. But I just want to send you a copy if that's okay with you. So maybe if you'd like to read it. So then she kind of responded, and then she was very gracious about it. And the one thing is with my publisher, unfortunately, they didn't have distribution outside of Delhi. They're a Delhi-based company, so they had a tie-up only with Crossword. The whole, I mean, I wanted a physical copy to be there at a bookstore where you know how it is.
I do.
So um, that so what I did was this wonderful place called Odyssey in Chennai. I don't know. I think it is available. Like how Landmark was everywhere.
Yeah.
So Odyssey is probably the only other bookstore that's pretty. I mean, as old as Landmark was. So thankfully, Odyssey stood the test of time, and there they have a thing where they support Chennai authors. So I kind of reached out to them, and they were like, we're okay to have 5 copies of your book there.
Oh, nice.
So fortunately, it got sold out like really quickly. And they sent me a message back. Listen, can we have 10 copies? And to get those 10 copies, you have, Aniesha, I mean, I wish I had a printing press. I would print them myself. That's how much trouble I had to go through because for the, for you to get author copies, it would take a lot of time. So that is when everything was kind of happening and the momentum of things, Then I had to wait like 3 weeks to get the copies. But then when I did get it, I went and gave it. And they were very happy, I guess, because they did not expect some random dude's book to sell. So they were like, they made me sign. I was like, God, what is happening?
Aww.
So yeah, they made me sign copies at Odyssey, and they made it look like it was a big deal, like which is something that, I mean, of course, it's the experience of, you know, I don't know, people just standing there taking pictures of yours and all that, and everybody, the people there, the books were looking at you like, who is this guy? But it's also just the fact that, you're celebrated just because, I mean, to be celebrated in your own hometown, I think it's kind of special. It's something that my favorite singer Celine always keeps saying. Like, I could be loved in the entire world, but when people from my place love me, it kind of makes me feel even more special. So that's what I feel with Odyssey, and thankfully we've been doing well, and it's still number two bestseller there. Still, it's almost a year doing well there.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Which then begs the question, do we see a sequel? Are you going to write a part two?
So I want to see. So I'll tell you what. Rupi, Rupi Kaur, right?
Yep.
The poet.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was really her writing that kind of gave me permission to even have the courage to publish something like this, because her poetry is pretty simple. And she's gotten a lot of criticism saying this is a Twitter post, this is not poetry, and this is a Tumblr post and things like that. But she's also somebody who actually really touched me, because I've always known poetry to be extremely flowery, and the kind of poetry that we studied in school.
Yeah, okay.
But for her to just say something very simply and sorry, I didn't hear you.
I just had bad flashbacks because I studied literature in college, so I had very bad flashbacks
Oh, wow.
of all the poems.
Right.
But you're right.
I cannot even imagine.
You know whose poetry you remind me of? Atticus. Because even he writes very simple but very effective poem. You should look up Atticus.
Yes, I have, and that's why I'm like, what? No way, Aniesha, no, don't. Listen, that's like, that is, oh my God, that's
The simplest things. It's like one line, but it hits you and you remember it. Like one of my favorite Atticus poems of all time is "Don't be afraid to change the prince's name in your story," and that is something I always tell myself when
I can have goosebumps. That's amazing. Yeah. So that kind of visceral reaction that you had when you read it is how I felt about Rupi. So I kind of lost the point. What was I trying to say? What was I talking about?
She got a lot of flack, but the thing is, she stood her
Yes,
ground.
she got a lot of flack, but why did I bring her up? You asked. Sequel, right? so she kind of was saying, she wanted to write something else, but then the demand was that she write another poetry book, which she had to do it, but then she took some time, but then she did it, and then it was like she said, there was one more book left in me, poetry book left in me. So she came up with a third. So for me, I feel like there is still a lot that I want to say, and I feel like I'm in a place where I can, maybe it's not always coming from a dark, sad place, like the first book, 20-30% of the first book did. So I've kind of, so I feel like, let's see how this works. So that's, I will definitely. So the first book came out on my mother's birthday last year.
Nice.
So I'm thinking maybe this 27th of October, I'll have another one out if everything goes according to plan.
I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Which brings me to another question, which is, did your dynamic, like the people who used to come to your page before when you were a store, change a little when you started posting more creative content, more about your singing, more about your poems, more about your book?
Right. Yeah. So I had about we had, so Jerry and I, the one that I started Something Different with, so we both kind of had that page together, right? So we would just post stuff about, it was very just that. It was never personal content. But then the pandemic hit and we couldn't really sell anything. Like we couldn't really make stuff and give anybody. So I was like, let's just do something. Let's keep the page, active. that's when I started posting all this random stuff, like comedy videos, whatnot. And then, yeah, the number of people just like it just grew. It's almost like over doubled actually. So that happened, yes. So, and I feel like I made a lot of wonderful friends like yourself.
Oh,
Um, because no, it's true. So and it also like listen, we don't have like a marketing budget, right? I mean, so this is what I would just bombard that page with that green, I mean yellow book. It's just flashes of yellow every time you come. It's like I don't know, did somebody like yellow puke all over it? There's so much of yellow in there because that's the only way I would just like ensure that it's like how Priyanka Chopra kind of was everywhere when she did Quantico, and
yeah.
she kind of saturated the media, and that's where and she's super talented to back that up with. But then she was everywhere, and that kind of like made her mark that way, I feel. And that's what I wanted to do with this, because it's just there in your face, and you were like, okay, at least for like pure pressure, let me just go read something, and that's what I did. And if the poem is half decent, people might stay, is what I thought. So yeah, that's that. I do notice a difference in dynamic, definitely. Yeah, it's also this community of friends that I have right now, who actually are looking forward to a second book, like that. Yeah,
Welcome.
that's not normal. Like, I mean, you probably know that feeling because you've written a lot, but for someone like
Yeah.
me, it's a
No, it's not. So the thing is, when my first book came out, I was annoyed and annoyed and annoyed till I finally gave in this year and I wrote the sequel this year.
oh. See, is that the one there's one that's coming out soon, right?
No, no, no. So
Uh,
I already released that. It's called Hook,
that's a
Line.
standalone.
That's a standalone. So Rashi Ghoshal Will Find
Okay.
Her Prince Charming is the book that is coming out.
Right.
It's based on my own adventures of being in Bombay.
Wow.
But the other one I was talking about was
Exciting.
my first book was called The Secret Proposal, and people, I kid you not, it came out
Yes.
in 2012. It's been 9 years. I still get asked where is the sequel, what happened next, and after I released the sequel, they're like, "But what happened next?" I was like, "It was
Oh
9 years
wow. Then
ago."
they wanted it to be a trilogy.
They are happy because I said I will
What's the second one called?
hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, that's the one. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
So
That is
now,
so cool. Like, no, I'm sorry. I like a moment to kind of like, celebrate that. That is so cool that, someone wants a sequel and then you actually did give it to them. That's just awesome.
so you soon realize that you're writing for your set of audience. I know who my audience is, and
Right.
I talk to them all the time. So I used to
Mm.
write a lot of really toxic characters without realizing that they are toxic characters and they are perhaps not the people that you should aspire to be with. As
Right.
but I also wrote this book like 10 years ago when I was considerably younger. So I learned a lot and then I started changing it and then I started talking to these kids because it's terrifying when 16-year-olds write to you and tell you, "Oh my God, I want someone like this." And you go, "What have I done?" Because suddenly you feel
Right.
responsible for this whole generation who are glorifying somebody who shouldn't be glorified.
Who shouldn't be glorified. Wow. Yeah. I remember seeing a post saying, I wish my boyfriend and I had cancer so we could be like Hazel and Augustus from Fault in Our Stars. Yeah.
No!
So, yeah, I've seen that. And I was like, yeah.
Like, I
Anyway,
became a lot more responsible as I grew up, and all of these kids started writing to me. And they are now in college, and I'm in touch with most of them. So,
that's awesome. Okay.
but
So
yeah,
this is from back in 2012, right?
yes. And and
Right.
I keep coming across kids who are just entered college or just finished school. They come across the secret proposal, and they're like, "I want somebody like Veer," and then I have to have this conversation with them, like, "You know what? Read the sequel. He changes. He's a good person now."
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I was very influenced by stupid Indian dramatic soaps where the guy not giving the girl attention was very glorified. And even I fell victim to it. I was
Correct.
like, "Oh my God, you want what you can't have." But then you grow up and you're like,
Right.
"Wait, what was I doing?" No, if you don't want me, I don't want you either. Go away.
Right. That's smart. Like, yeah, see, you kind of did not have to say it to these audience or the readers. You just wrote a book and then have that say it to them, which is probably and through the journey of the character. So
Yeah,
that's even more effective. That's awesome. I'm so glad you did that.
I had to, because when you're on your 30th mail about how great this character is and you know that you have written a toxic character, you need to start taking responsibility and do something about it.
Mm. Wow, that's actually yeah. Wow, nice.
Like, as authors, I feel really responsible, especially towards the younger generation.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, especially the one that's reading and getting influenced.
Like,
That's the yeah.
I'm just horrified listening to this. I
Friend of
wish me and
mine.
my boyfriend had cancer. God, why would you say that?
Sorry, what? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
The thing that you just told me about The Fault in Our Stars, and that
Right,
is not
yeah,
your
right.
takeaway from that book. Your takeaway should be the
Yes,
love.
right. Yeah, and how they grow up even though they're kids, and then they have to almost think about the parents, and yeah, such a good book. So I was just saying, one of my friends was like, I got a book to work, so I was reading it, and then he was like, okay, let's go for tea or something, coffee. I was like, okay, let me just put the book inside, and he was like, no, 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 nobody will steal a book, because the ones that steal, I mean, are not people who read books. The ones who read books are usually nicer people. And I was that's actually one of the smartest things you've said, Sumit. So yeah, so I think the ones that read stuff and then get influenced, I think it's all the more important that they be, told that probably not great, this toxicity and things like that. Yeah. So I'm glad you did that, and it's amazing.
Like, I used to talk about it a lot, and then it proved ineffective. And I like, might as well talk to you the way you guys will listen to me. Write another book.
Right. Smart.
So, here is another question.
Mhm.
By the way, if you're looking for a very happy book to read, last year I think I read this book called What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Abitali. One of the happiest books I've read. It's about these.
Are you genuinely saying that?
Yes, it's a really happy book.
Okay, no, because that.
Okay, another question I always wanted to ask you is, you keep posting your the covers that you sing. A lot of times, if there are songs that I love so much, like the Wicked Games one. I did not know so many people know about that song though. Every time I would bring that up, my friends would go, "What song is this?" But this begs the question that why haven't you decided, try to open a YouTube channel and actually do full-fledged covers?
So I think honestly it's the technicality, because if you're putting stuff out on YouTube now, that with everybody doing amazing stuff, um, when I sing stuff, it's usually just live, as in I just switch the camera on and I sing with the music playing from the TV or something.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who actually sit and record with the mic, then they will edit it, they will add reverb, they'll add all of that, they'll add music layers, and then they'll mix it properly and then upload. So that's the kind of quality that is right now there on that platform. I feel like right now, I mean, I don't have my PC broke, so I am, yeah, so I'm pretty much doing everything only on my office laptop. Maybe I should actually get like a proper laptop and then maybe start recording. I really want to do that. I want to do it. If I'm doing something, I want to do it professionally, because see, now you can, if you have an original song that you can write, you can just put it on Spotify or like Amazon Music, and you have that. So I think I will definitely do that, because I also want to do Smorgasbord's audiobook, which has been yeah, it's something people have asked, and I also wanted to do, because Jerry, the one I told about, so Jerry is a musician, so I wanted him to maybe put certain poems to music. So I thought that'll be an interesting combination of both and see how that works. So I have a little bit of an idea. So all that, I think, once the pandemic kind of decides to leave us for good, or things are better, I think I'll do all that. I will probably start a channel. I'll let you know.
Oh, I look forward to it. And while we are on that subject, we are making Ratna add yet another thing to his kitty. Has it been difficult juggling your passion projects along with having a full-time job? while being in the middle of this pandemic?
Hmm. So um, I think the only way I can survive or have some sort of sanity is if I have any of these passion projects, so to say. Because if I'm just working, I feel like I would burn out, honestly, which is precisely why I mean, I understand that it's when you're putting something out there, it's for, it's an ego boost when somebody says, oh, that's nice, or like, that's definitely there. But it's also just the fact that I've done something and put it there. It's like, it makes me feel like, okay, I've done something for the creative being in me or whatever. I just feel like sometimes not see it. It's not like I don't want to talk trash about my job. I love it. It helps me be where I am right now. And so, but still, it kind of could get a little monotonous. So I feel like back in the day when there was no, I mean, it's weird to say back in the day, but before the pandemic, we would go. I would be. I have done musicals and concerts and things. So we'll have practice. So we'll go in and sing for a couple of hours, or excuse me. So I started losing weight around 2020, like 19 is when I started really losing weight. So I had that thing where I would go to the gym and I'd work out. So all of that are kind of like gone almost. Like I cannot go to the gym, or so I need to do something in order for me to stay sane. And I feel like this is the only way I'll survive. If that means I will sleep slightly late, so be it. That's why I'll randomly sing at 1 in the night and I will post. And somebody tell me that's not the optimum time to upload a reel. I'm like, I don't care. It's okay. I mean, I'm just doing this for myself.
Hey, that completely I believe. I have posted reels and gone to sleep, woke up in the morning and saw they've got 3K views. So I really don't know how this algorithm works.
Maybe maybe the foreigners get to see it because it's their morning. I don't know.
It's just weird. No one knows. No one knows how the algorithm works. So what I realized is just have fun. As content creators, you should just have fun. Have fun. Which again, now the most difficult question, I guess, of the evening, which is, as a creator, which has been your favorite creation so far? The book, all the stuff you've ever made, or the short story you wrote?
God.
Generous. I didn't make you pick a poem because I know no one can do that.
Okay. So if you're talking only about the books, I mean, Smorgasbord is the only book I've written. See, Aniesha, I'm not like you where you've written so many. It'll be difficult for you to pick. So I've only done one. So I really like our Smorgasbord.
I had a 9 years head start. So.
No, but still, it's I don't know. So for me, I think the first thing that I don't know, maybe Elevator is a short story that I don't know if you've read it. It's there as a standalone, but it's also part of the Smorgasbord book in the end, in the bonus section. I put it there because like it's 6 pages. But so that's something I genuinely enjoyed because that's what kind of got me again into writing, because so this crap that happened 2 years ago when I was sad and I started writing, right? It stopped after I started being happy. But then I discovered this beautiful author called Laura Purcell, who writes Victorian Gothic stories. And I just fell in love with her writing. And that kind of made me want to write a ghost story. So that's when I wrote Elevator. So that is what kind of started it all for me. And then I put it on Kindle, and then people liked it, and it won a little prize. So I was like, oh, okay. So, maybe I can write. So I don't know. So that's probably I think it's the beginning, right? I think that's what I'll say. If you have to make me choose, definitely Elevator.
Oh, I feel like I put a gun to your head and make you choose.
But then if it's everything that I've done in the pandemic, it's this thing called Orange series. It's probably something you might not have watched because it's predominantly in Tamil. It's just a bunch of, there's orange, there's pineapple, and then there's tomato. There's 3 different characters that just talk to each other, and it's funny. I've gained a lot of people through that. Like people have become really good friends because they thought it was funny, and I made a lot of friends through that. So that I
What
oh,
plans do you
okay.
have next, Ratna? Will we see more handmade products or will we see more poetry books? We are just very curious now.
I the way things are, I think until the pandemic really eases out, I don't think I'll be making anything really because my raw materials just I need to source them. So I can't really do that now. So I think I'm going to concentrate on writing because, like I said, I have another book planned in another couple of months, and this I haven't told anybody yet. But yeah, okay, it's not like it's a big deal, you know. It's not like, oh, you heard it first. No, nothing like that. No one really cares about this stuff. But I have a mini sort of book booklet, if you will. I mean, I don't know. It's really tiny. It's a book of French poetry.
Oh,
So yeah, it's called Les Cicatrices, which means scars. So that's coming out probably in August. It's a very tiny little thing. It's yeah. So I would know more about it in a while if once I hear from the publishers. But yeah, so it's the first time I've ever written French poetry, I guess.
yeah, that book, if I get my hands on it, I'm sending it to my mother for sure. She will love it.
Oh, you know what? I'll send her a copy. I mean, I'll send you a copy and send it to her.
Thank you so much for being a part of Chai and Chill. We leave the links down for Something Different store in the description and to see future episodes of